Do you ever wonder why, despite striving to be the best version of yourself as a believer, some people seem to dislike or even hate you? It's not uncommon for those who walk the path of righteousness to face opposition. This hatred is nothing new. It's part of a pattern we see in the lives of the prophets, the teachings of the Quran, and even the natural struggles between truth and falsehood. In this video, we'll uncover 7 profound reasons why true believers, the chosen ones in the eyes of Allah, often face hatred. Stay with us as we reflect on this divine wisdom. Reason 1. Your actions expose the flaws of others. When you live with sincerity, honesty, and a true commitment to your faith, you become more than just someone following a path. You unintentionally become a mirror to those around you. The way you live, rooted in Islamic values, consistently striving to act with integrity, forces others to confront their own behavior. This may not be your intention, but it's the reality of being a believer who lives authentically. Your every choice, from avoiding gossip to practicing kindness in difficult situations, reflects what others might be lacking. And for some, that can be deeply uncomfortable. Think about it. When you dedicate yourself to following the straight path, to consistently doing the right thing no matter how hard, your actions might expose the flaws of those around you without a single word spoken. It's the simple act of living authentically that makes others uncomfortable, even though you haven't pointed out anyone's mistakes. And this discomfort is not necessarily because of something you've done to them directly. It's because your life is highlighting the areas where they may feel they fall short. They may recognize that their own behavior isn't aligning with the standards you've set, and that realization often creates a sense of unease. People don't like being reminded of their flaws, especially when they know deep down that they could do better. It's human nature to avoid discomfort, and it's easier to deflect than to reflect. When you maintain high moral standards, people can feel that you're silently holding up a mirror to their own choices. This could create friction, as they may feel they are being judged, even if you've said nothing. This is the discomfort that arises when the contrast between your righteous actions and their less admirable choices becomes too obvious. Let's consider a more specific example. Imagine you're at a social gathering, and there's a lot of gossiping happening. In such a setting, it's easy for many to get swept up in the conversation. But you, as a believer, choose not to engage in the gossip. You stay silent or gently redirect the conversation. Now, in this moment, you haven't criticized anyone or pointed out their behavior. However, the act of you remaining silent or refusing to participate in a negative conversation might make others feel judged. They may feel uncomfortable, as if you are somehow calling attention to their actions, even though you haven't said a word about it. The very fact that you're not engaging in something they consider normal behavior forces them to see the difference between what they're doing and what you're doing. And that, in itself, can make them uncomfortable. This discomfort that others feel is not something you should take personally. It is not your responsibility to manage how others react to your choices. Your duty is to live according to the principles you hold dear for the sake of Allah. Their discomfort with your actions is not a reflection of your wrongdoing, but rather a sign that your way of living has exposed a truth they are either unwilling to see or afraid to confront. It is important to remember that their reaction to your actions is a direct result of their own internal conflict, not a judgment on you. It is easy to feel guilty when others seem uncomfortable with your behavior. But remember, your role is not to appease anyone or to shrink back from doing what is right, simply to make others feel comfortable. you must stay true to your values, continue to live authentically, and never compromise on your faith. If your actions make others uneasy, let that discomfort be a catalyst for their own reflection. Your behavior may be the very thing that causes them to question their own choices, and this could lead to positive change in the future, even if it doesn't happen immediately. But above all, stay patient and humble. Continue to live your life in a way that pleases Allah, and trust that even though others may resist or feel uneasy, you are doing what is right. If your actions bring discomfort to others, it may stem from another reason: your commitment to truth, which often challenges the status quo. Reason 2. Speaking the truth invites opposition. As a believer, truth is the foundation of your life. You refuse to sugarcoat falsehoods or remain silent in the face of injustice. In a world where many are willing to overlook the truth or bend it for personal gain, speaking the truth becomes an act of defiance. Yet, while truth is integral to your faith, it is rarely welcomed by everyone, especially by those who benefit from lies or the status quo. This tension between your commitment to the truth and the discomfort it causes in others is a powerful source of opposition. The truth you speak, whether it's in matters of great importance or the smaller daily challenges, often disrupts the comfort zones of those around you. Many people prefer to live in denial or maintain the false narratives they've constructed to protect their own interests. When you speak the truth, you challenge those very foundations, making others uncomfortable. For some, it's easier to silence the truth than to confront the reality it exposes. This discomfort can quickly turn into opposition. Consider this example. When you witness unethical behavior within a community, such as corruption or exploitation, and you choose to speak up, you may find that others try to silence you or even attack you. This opposition isn't because your words are false, but because your words force them to confront something they would rather ignore. People who have grown accustomed to lies or have benefited from unjust systems are often resistant to change. They would prefer to continue in their comfort, untouched by the inconvenient truth you are highlighting. For instance, in a workplace where corruption is rampant, you might expose unethical practices or demand accountability from those in power. While your call for justice is morally correct, the people benefiting from these practices will likely respond with hostility. They might try to discredit you, undermine your credibility, or even retaliate against you. This happens not because they believe you are wrong, but because the truth you speak threatens their positions and their comfort. They have much to lose, and rather than confront their own wrongdoing, they choose to oppose the truth instead. This kind of opposition is something that many believers face in various forms. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was not only ridiculed and persecuted for his message, but was also physically harmed because he spoke the truth in a world that rejected it. He was sent as a mercy to mankind. Yet many could not bear the truth he brought, leading them to oppose him at every turn. His example teaches us that speaking the truth often comes with a heavy price, but it is a price that is worth paying for the sake of Allah and the greater good. In these moments of opposition, it's important to stand firm in your commitment to the truth. Know that you are following in the footsteps of those who came before you, including the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who faced far greater challenges for speaking the truth. His resilience should inspire you to remain steadfast and unshaken, even when others seek to silence you. But speaking the truth isn't the only thing that invites hatred. Another reason for their dislike could be your unyielding integrity, your refusal to compromise your values. Reason 3. Your refusal to compromise is intimidating. In a world where compromise is often seen as the easiest path, steadfastness in your Islamic values can be perceived by others as stubbornness or even judgment. The pressure to fit in, to conform to societal norms, is immense. Many people are willing to bend their principles to avoid conflict or to gain acceptance. But as a believer, you prioritize your values above the transient approval of those around you. This unwavering commitment to your faith, while noble and admirable, can sometimes be intimidating to others. Your refusal to compromise on your values can challenge the comfort of those around you, especially when their actions conflict with your principles. In social settings, for example, where gossip or inappropriate behavior is common, your choice to stay silent or remove yourself from the conversation may cause others to feel uncomfortable. They may interpret your actions as judgmental or feel that you are looking down on them, even if you have not said a word. What they fail to see is that your refusal to compromise is not a rejection of them as individuals, but a reflection of your commitment to your faith and principles. People often misunderstand steadfastness as rigidity. They view your refusal to engage in behaviors they consider normal, whether it's participating in activities that go against Islamic teachings or aligning with popular trends, as an inability to adapt. They may see you as unapproachable or even stubborn. But in reality, what you are doing is holding fast to something far more important than temporary social acceptance: your faith and your principles. For example, imagine being invited to a gathering where there is alcohol, inappropriate language, or other activities that go against your beliefs. You politely decline or choose not to participate. To others, this may seem like you're being too rigid or unwilling to engage in the fun. But what they may not understand is that you're not rejecting them personally. Rather, you're remaining true to the values that guide your life. This decision, while it may isolate you or make you seem distant, is rooted in your desire to maintain your integrity and follow the path of righteousness. This steadfastness can create discomfort in others because it challenges their own willingness to conform to societal pressures. They might view your commitment as an implicit criticism of their own choices, even if you haven't expressed anything. The truth is, the discomfort others feel stems from their own internal struggle. They see your strength and conviction, and it reminds them of the compromises they've made or the values they've sacrificed to fit in. But this refusal to compromise is not something to feel guilty about. In fact, it is a form of strength. You are not rejecting others, you are simply remaining faithful to your principles, which are more valuable than fleeting moments of acceptance. Your commitment to your faith reflects the kind of inner strength and integrity that is rare in a world that often encourages conformity. Your principles are not negotiable, and you refuse to allow temporary social pressures to erode the foundation of your beliefs. While your integrity can be seen as intimidating, it can also spark something else: envy. Let's explore why people might envy your inner peace and the contentment you derive from your faith. Reason 4. Envy of your inner peace and contentment. As a believer, your connection with Allah grants you a unique peace and contentment, something that cannot be bought or imitated. This inner serenity is not dependent on material wealth or external circumstances. It comes from knowing that your life is in alignment with your faith and that Allah is with you, guiding you through every challenge. This contentment, which radiates from your heart, can be unsettling to those around you who are still searching for fulfillment, in temporary worldly pleasures. While they seek happiness in possessions, status, or fleeting experiences, your inner peace stands as a testament to the power of faith, and it can evoke envy in those who are still trying to fill the void within. When people observe you living a life full of contentment, they often feel a sense of dissatisfaction with their own lives. They might have material wealth, success, or social recognition, yet they are unable to find the peace and joy that you seem to possess so effortlessly. This contrast can stir feelings of jealousy, resentment, and frustration. They may wonder why they can't seem to find what you have, even though they have all the things they were told would bring happiness. Take, for example, how you maintain a sense of calm during difficult trials. When faced with hardships, whether personal loss, financial struggles, or health challenges, your faith allows you to remain grounded and hopeful. You turn to Allah for strength, and in doing so, you remain composed. Others, however, may struggle with these same trials, turning to temporary solutions like distractions or material goods, only to find that they do not offer lasting comfort. They may envy the way you handle adversity with such grace and patience, while they feel overwhelmed by the same challenges. Your peace in the face of adversity is a reflection of the deep trust and reliance you have on Allah, something they are seeking but have yet to find. Another example could be the joy you find in simple everyday moments, whether it's the peace of prayer, the fulfillment in giving charity, or the contentment in spending time with loved ones. These moments bring you happiness because they align with your values and beliefs. For others who are caught in the chase for material success or external validation, they may look at your life and feel that they are missing something. The joy you experience in your faith stands in stark contrast to their empty pursuit of worldly pleasures. However, it's important to remember that this envy is not about you. It's a reflection of what others lack. They envy your peace because they haven't yet discovered the fulfillment that comes with a deep and unwavering connection with Allah. Their feelings of jealousy are rooted in their own dissatisfaction, not in any fault of yours. Protect your heart with humility, knowing that your peace is a gift from Allah. When you encounter envy, seek refuge in Allah from its harm, and remember that you are on a path that is true and fulfilling, no matter how others may react. The feelings of envy toward you are often a result of a deeper fear or misunderstanding of your lifestyle. This brings us to the next reason why people hate you. Reason 5. People fear what they don't understand. When you live according to Islamic principles, your lifestyle may seem foreign or even threatening to those who are unfamiliar with your faith. The way you carry yourself, the values you hold dear, and the choices you make may appear completely different from what others are accustomed to. This misunderstanding can breed fear, which, unfortunately, often manifests as hatred. People are naturally cautious of what they don't understand, and when your lifestyle challenges the norms they are used to, it can evoke a defensive reaction, even if you do not intend to harm or disrupt their way of life. Your values, beliefs, and actions may challenge societal norms that others hold dear, and this can make them feel uncomfortable. They may not understand why you choose to wear modest clothing, why you refrain from certain social activities, or why you follow specific practices like prayer or fasting. To them, these actions may seem strange, even extreme, and they might view you as someone who is trying to impose your beliefs onto them or criticize their own way of life. But in reality, you are simply living in accordance with what you believe to be right, seeking only to please Allah. Take, for example, the way you dress modestly. In many societies, modesty in clothing is not the norm, and people may not understand why you choose to cover yourself in a way that contrasts with the more revealing trends around you. To them, it might seem restrictive or out of place, and they might even feel threatened by your choice, as if it somehow reflects negatively on their own values or way of living. The truth is, your choice to dress modestly isn't meant to criticize anyone. It is simply an expression of your faith and your desire to follow the teachings of Islam. But for those who do not understand your reasoning, it can be seen as a challenge to their own freedom or way of life. Similarly, when you follow practices that are central to your faith, like observing prayer 5 times a day, fasting during Ramadan, or attending religious gatherings, you may encounter confusion or even hostility. These practices, which are normal for you, might appear strange to others who are not familiar with them. They may view your commitment to these rituals as an imposition or an indication that you think they are doing something wrong. This misunderstanding can lead to fear, and fear often gives birth to hostility. When people feel threatened by something they don't understand, they may lash out with judgment, criticism, or even hatred. It's important to remember that you are not responsible for making others understand your lifestyle. Your role is not to change their views or to convince them to see things from your perspective. Just as the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived according to divine principles without compromising his beliefs, your job is to live with sincerity, humility, and conviction. Let your actions speak for themselves and trust that Allah will guide those who are meant to understand. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone or seek validation from others. Your commitment to living by your values is a personal one, and that is enough. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, faced much opposition and misunderstanding in his life, yet he remained steadfast in his mission, knowing that his true purpose was to please Allah, not to seek the approval of others. This fear and misunderstanding can lead to one another reason for hatred, the divine test that you are enduring as a believer. Reason 6. People fear what they don't understand. When you live according to Islamic principles, your lifestyle may seem foreign or even threatening to those who are unfamiliar with your faith. The way you carry yourself, the values you hold dear, and the choices you make may appear completely different from what others are accustomed to. This misunderstanding can breed fear, which unfortunately often manifests as hatred. People are naturally cautious of what they don't understand, and when your lifestyle challenges the norms they are used to, it can evoke a defensive reaction, even if you do not intend to harm or disrupt their way of life. Your values, beliefs, and actions may challenge societal norms that others hold dear, and this can make them feel uncomfortable. They may not understand why you choose to wear modest clothing, why you refrain from certain social activities, or why you follow specific practices like prayer or fasting. To them, these actions may seem strange, even extreme, and they might view you as someone who is trying to impose your beliefs onto them or criticize their own way of life. But in reality, you are simply living in accordance with what you believe to be right, seeking only to please Allah. Take, for example, the way you dress modestly. In many societies, modesty in clothing is not the norm, and people may not understand why you choose to cover yourself in a way that contrasts with the more revealing trends around you. To them, it might seem restrictive or out of place, and they might even feel threatened by your choice, as if it somehow reflects negatively on their own values or way of living. The truth is, your choice to dress modestly isn't meant to criticize anyone. It is simply an expression of your faith and your desire to follow the teachings of Islam. But for those who do not understand your reasoning, it can be seen as a challenge to their own freedom or way of life. Similarly, when you follow practices that are central to your faith, like observing prayer 5 times a day, fasting during Ramadan, or attending religious gatherings, you may encounter confusion or even hostility. These practices, which are normal for you, might appear strange to others who are not familiar with them. They may view your commitment to these rituals as an imposition or an indication that you think they are doing something wrong. This misunderstanding can lead to fear, and fear often gives birth to hostility. When people feel threatened by something they don't understand, they may lash out with judgment, criticism, or even hatred. It's important to remember that you are not responsible for making others understand your lifestyle. Your role is not to change their views or to convince them to see things from your perspective. Just as the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived according to divine principles without compromising his beliefs, your job is to live with sincerity, humility, and conviction. Let your actions speak for themselves and trust that Allah will guide those who are meant to understand. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone or seek validation from others. Your commitment to living by your values is a personal one, and that is enough. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, faced much opposition and misunderstanding in his life, yet he remained steadfast in his mission, knowing that his true purpose was to please Allah, not to seek the approval of others. This fear and misunderstanding can lead to one final reason. Reason 7. You are on the path of the prophets. The prophets, who were the most beloved of Allah's servants, faced some of the harshest opposition and hatred. Their unwavering commitment to truth, justice, and righteousness often put them in direct conflict with the societies they lived in. They were ridiculed, mocked, and rejected, yet they never wavered from their mission. If you are facing similar challenges in your life as a believer, it may be a sign that you are walking the same path as these noble figures. The difficulties and hatred you face are not signs of failure. They are indications that you are on the right path, following the footsteps of those who pleased Allah most. Opposition is often seen as a negative outcome, but in the context of faith, it can be a powerful indicator that you are standing firm in your beliefs. Just as the prophets, like Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, endured mockery, rejection, and even physical harm for spreading the truth, you too may experience trials for your commitment to your faith. These trials are not meant to break you. Instead, they provide you with an opportunity to strengthen your resolve and prove your sincerity to Allah. When the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, faced rejection and mockery from the people of his time, he did not waver in his mission. Despite the severe opposition, he remained steadfast, continuing to call people to the truth, knowing that Allah's reward was far greater than any temporary hardship he might endure. Similarly, as you strive to live according to your faith, you will undoubtedly face trials, some big, some small. These tests will come in various forms: rejection from family and friends, criticism from society, and even moments of self-doubt. But remember, each test is an opportunity to prove your sincerity and devotion to Allah. Reflecting on the example of the prophets can provide immense strength in difficult times. The prophets endured some of the most severe tests. Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was thrown into a fire for his faith. Prophet Noah, peace be upon him, faced the ridicule of his people for building an ark, and Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, had to confront Pharaoh despite the risks to his life. Yet, through their perseverance, they achieved the highest ranks in the hereafter. The challenges they faced were not signs of failure, but rather a testament to their unshakable faith and trust in Allah. Your trials and the hatred you might face for your faith are reminders of your connection to these noble figures. You are not alone. This opposition is a test from Allah, a reminder that you are striving to live according to His will, just as the prophets did. Remember, the ultimate reward for this steadfastness is with Allah, who is with those who remain patient and persevere in their faith. If you find yourself hated for striving to be a true believer, remember that this is not a reflection of your worth, but a sign that you are walking the path of the righteous. Allah promises to be with those who are patient and steadfast, so keep going. Seek refuge in Allah from the challenges you face, and trust that the reward for your sincerity will be far greater than any hardship you endure. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's continue to grow in knowledge and faith together. And don't forget to join our community on Discord for more discussions and insights on how to live a life of faith and resilience.